Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the take on this Tuesday morning, and a really interesting day once again. If you go back, even all the way back to last Friday, obviously the concerns, it was a wild ride. We had that huge move to the downside about the variance. We were down 2+% across the board or more. We have when we were looking at a lot of these major indices. And then Monday, we get a pretty nice solid bounce. And the focus looks again a little bit brighter and it looks a little bit more into the future. But could that hold on? Matter of fact, we opened the day on the NASDAQ up pretty strong. That was up about 200 points. The Dow was up about 360 points. So they were both moving pretty nicely. The Dow suddenly started to fall and actually trimmed itself all the way back down to being flat in a hurry in the first hour of trade. So up 360, goes to flat, recovers throughout the afternoon, and actually has a pretty decent day, not nearly to the highs, but still 230 points to the upside. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, had a pretty nice day. It started off 200 points. It's continued to move throughout the session, stayed in a bit of a tight range once it made that move, but it finished the day up about 290 points, nearly a 2% move from the NASDAQ. So we did see a little bit of that. And it's interesting because I see people all the time, well, do you like value? Do you like growth? Do you like this? Do you like that? Here's always been my answer. I like quality and I like growth. Put those together and you've got yourself a pretty solid company. So I don't ever want to isolate myself into saying, you know what, you can only buy this, you can only buy that. The tech is a great example of this, along with the semiconductors on some of the resiliency that we see there oftentimes. What wasn't all that resilient yesterday was crude. Crude just continues to tumble. As a matter of fact, started the day off in the 72s, actually finished the day underneath 70, traded into the 69 area. So that wasn't so great. You look at that volatility index, we talk about some of these spikes, the velocity of these moves, we talk about volatility. The VIX 21, call it, to about 26 almost. So pretty wide range, a pretty good spike to the upside, closed in the 22. So it did pull back and close towards the lower end of things. We had a great volume day. Once again, the derivatives markets continue to be on fire. You oftentimes during these holidays, pre and post holidays, you'll see a lot of people traveling, you see a lot of people shopping, you see a lot of different things going on, but you see a little bit of a hit in terms of some of the volumes. We aren't seeing that at all. Almost 41 million contracts yesterday trading, with only two names, Apple and Tesla, that actually were in the million contract club. Everything else was below that. Just gives you a little bit of an idea of just how widespread and so much we are seeing in terms of what's going on in the markets themselves, in the derivative markets, some of the activity there. Bitcoin slipping and right around that 58,000 yesterday. Now, there was some strong areas and some very weak areas yesterday, even with the markets actually moving to the upside. The weak side, take a look at Merck. Merck taking some punishment. That was down about 5% yesterday. I look over at Peloton, down about 4%, because as we get a little positive, maybe the variance and blah, 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 all of that. Well, we had a little bit of a pop out of Peloton, which has been sold. So makes a little sense that it'd get a little bit of a bounce. Best Buy, that was down a little bit. CrowdStrike, that was down a little bit, but we had a lot of positives yesterday. We had Tesla up 5% yesterday for Tesla. We had a lot going on in the semiconductor space. Matter of fact, semiconductors are up about 4% yesterday as a group. As a matter of fact, if you look over at tech, that was up about 2.5%, but you look over at the semis, they were absolutely on fire. Names like Lam Research and NVIDIA, they were up about 6% or so. Applied Materials, Teradyne, throw in some of the names like Seagate as well. Really, really a nice day yesterday. Moderna had another one of those days where it was up about 12%. Very, very volatile. We know that, but especially given the backdrop of things, we have seen that stock get under some serious pressure, but also some nice spikes to the upside. So the variant concerns erupt again today. It seemed like we had that nice little break yesterday. Maybe the focus is going to change. The conversation goes right back there. We got some pressure early on. We're down about 300 points on the Dow, but the NASDAQ, it's down about 75 points, continued from those pre-markets all the way up to about now, where those markets actually not only got into positive territory into the green, actually up about 35 points not too terribly long ago. As I took a look right before we came on, I did see that we had fallen back once again. So we were down about 10 points on the NASDAQ. So not a huge move by any stretch, but you look over at the Dow, it's primarily been down close to 250, 300 points throughout the session, with a little bit of movement here and there, been as much as 340 points to the downside. did get back as good as down only 140 points. That didn't last long. Suddenly the sellers came right back in. That's sort of been the trend. We look over at volatility, trading again now up about 10%, trading right around 25. So that sticks out. We got Bitcoin. Matter of fact, John and I were just talking about it before I came on. Got Bitcoin trading back towards 59,000. So a pretty nice little bit of a bounce that we're seeing out of Bitcoin. 10-year, that's getting hit. Crude, that's getting hit. You look at crude down 3%. You look at the 10-year down about 6%. We got a little bit of movement going there, and that's really a big portion of what's pushing on the markets right now, because energy, because of what we're talking about with crude, energy down about 1.25%. It was down 1% early. It slid a little bit more. Took a look over at the financials. They were down about 1%. I just took another look, down 1.6%. So financials feeling some of that pressure with the 10-year pressure being sold. Consumer staples down about 1%. Across the board, we're seeing a lot of this. Technology's trying to fight it. Semiconductors trying to fight it. But it looks like it's going to be a really a good battle throughout the day today. As a matter of fact, we just were looking at technology and looking at semiconductors up a little bit better than 0.25%, maybe almost a little just under 0.5%, but that slid back a little as well. Some of the names that are moving today, and we've got some. One of the ones that stands out the very most is Apple. And I bring this up only because Apple started the day at 160 and got up as high as nearly 164. Yesterday, we had all kinds of incredibly large option paper in Apple, 20,000 calls being bought out there just a week or so and up at the 175 strike. Today, very active again with options in Apple, looking for more upside. So that definitely does stand out today. But in terms of some of the strength, really not a lot of strength that you can find much anywhere. Pressure? Oh, yeah, we got pressure. We got pressure on hotels. We got pressure on cruise lines. We got pressure on the airlines. When you look at names like American Airlines and Delta and United, and you go through the entire list, a little bit of pressure there. You look at the cruise lines with Carnival Cruise, Norwegian, and that, you see a little bit more pressure there. Hotels, Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, those kind of names, all under pressure as well. Nothing huge, but definitely all to the downside, and that's sort of pulling on the markets as well as across so many different sectors. Moderna, as I say, it was up yesterday, down 6.5% today. Definitely does flip around today. Peloton actually up just a little bit today, up about 3% today. And Freeport Mac up about 1%. So a little bit of that material is making a little bit of a showing there. So interesting day, going to have some pressure on it. We'll see if we hold on to these levels where we are right now with the pressure on the Dow down about 300. NASDAQ holding about flat. We'll see if that can go. It's just the first hour of trading, obviously. Got a lot of day left. So got two unusuals for you. We're going to get out of here. Coca-Cola is number one, KO. Interesting. 53.50 is where the stock was trading. We got a buyer of nearly 12,000 of the December 10th expiring. Gives you a little bit of extra time. Goes out a little over a week. So you've got the December, almost a 2-week time frame. You've got the December 10th calls, 54.5 calls, getting 12,000 of those aggressively bought, 25 cents up to about 35 cents for those. So that stood out for me, definitely seeing some nice size and some buyers there. Lucid, and I bring this up because we brought it up in the past. It's been nothing but fire to the upside. It's been an absolutely explosive stock. Yes, it's had a pullback here and there, but generally that direction has been higher. Lucid, they had huge buyers there yesterday. I actually bought into that yesterday when we'd seen some of those call buyers. Today, they're back for even more. So what are they buying? Stock trading 56.50. They are buying this week's expiring, 9,500 of this week, December 3rd expiring, 56 calls. So they started at about $2, finished up buying those calls at about $3 as that stock was starting to slide to the upside. So just another one of these names just to keep an eye on. So we've got Apple, we've got Lucid, we've got Coke, got a lot of different names where we're seeing some positives, but there's a heck of a lot of names out there with put activity as well, and we're seeing some negatives. Folks, have a very good, safe day of trading. I'll tell you what, I'm really, really excited about the day. I think we're going to see a lot of movement, a lot of velocity. That always gives us a little bit more on the opportunity side. Folks, have a great day of trading.